Kathleen Gallagher, and the movie I selected for my presentation is Educating Rita, and the title is Singing a Better Song, Examining the Gender Role Reversals in the Film Educating Rita. Before I begin my analysis of Educating Rita, I would like to preface it with why I selected the movie. The first time I watched the movie, I, like Rita, was also a non-traditional student. Excited about learning, eager to get a liberal arts education, and naive to the limits and extents of what education could offer me. But now, as a college literature instructor, I view the movie in another light. I look at Frank, the burned-out comparative literature instructor, and I see bits and pieces of he in me. So with that information as a prelude to my analysis, I begin my presentation. The first scene that I would like to look at, sociological, is a scene in a pub in Liverpool. This is a scene where Rita, a 26-year-old hairdresser, has decided to get an education, and she finds herself with her family and unhappily realizing she can no longer get excited singing along with the tunes on the jukebox, sampling beer with her friends, because she has moved out of their world intellectually. She glances to her left and notices her mother is crying. Can't they sing a better song, she asks? And we'll look at that scene right now.
People you were with. I couldn't come in. I'd have seized up, because I'm a freak. I can't talk to the people I live with anymore. I can't talk to the likes of them at your house, because I'm a half-caste. I decided I wasn't coming here again. I went to the pub. They were all singing, all of them. Denny, looking happy, just got a few days holiday from work. Me mother, not really on top form, something was worrying her. Probably me dad, they were never really love's young dream. Our Sandra, in love, her fiancé, about the same, and her mates, all of them singing, oh, some song they'd learned from the jukebox. And I thought, just what the frig am I trying to do? Why don't I just pack it in, stay here, and join in with the singing?
And why didn't you?
You think I can, don't you? You think because you pass a pub doorway and hear them all singing, you think we're all okay? That we're all surviving with the spirit intact? I did join in the singing, but when I turned around, my mother had stopped singing, and she was crying. I said, "Why are you crying, Mother?" And she said, "There must be better songs to sing than this." And I thought, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, isn't it?
In a
Sing a
symbolic
better
sense,
song.
this is exactly what Rita believes she's trying to do as she pursues her dreams of a higher education. She wants to sing a better song. Having been drawn into the orbit of Shakespeare, Ibsen, and Chekhov, she has engaged in a role distancing and cannot go back to the person she once was before she enrolled in her liberal arts program, an open university, a government education program more suited at the time for a higher social status, in particular for male students. Caught in social marginality, Rita explains to Frank, her tutorial professor in the open college, I can't talk to the people I live with anymore, and I can't talk to the likes of them, the academic crowd, because I can't learn the language. I'm a half-caste. Oddly enough, both Rita and Frank, her college professor and tutor, find themselves in similar situations as they exit old roles and enter new ones, related to their preconceived gender power struggles and their previous social status as it relates to education and the perception of the power it contains. While the story is presented as a comedy, there's much sadness in the struggle that Rita goes through to discover herself. Married to a traditional type who wants desperately for Rita to stay true to the role expectations he has for her, he wants her to have a baby and put her dreams of a college education aside. In the second scene I have chosen in the movie, he is exasperated at her collegiate efforts and the fact that she does not want to follow a traditional role, and he takes the books that her professor Frank has loaned her and throws them into a flaming fire. And we'll see this scene at this time.
Denny? 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 I just shouted you. Denny, I don't want to have a baby, not until I've discovered myself.
The movie plays out the classic conflict perspective in sociological terms. Rita perceives Frank to be the man with the haves, and she, being the woman, to be the person with the have-nots. In the conflict perspective, women have less access to power and have been dependent on men for survival. One of the examples of this perspective happens in the next scene we'll see, where Rita is invited to a party at Frank's. She plans to go, but at the last minute, chickens out, leaves a note on his card telling him she cannot come. Ironically, the movie is full of false appearances. It's important to note that Frank's disenchantment with education and culture represents more than some sort of personal failure. In the next scene, he warns Rita that he has nothing to teach her when he discusses that he cannot teach her any more about writing or he will ruin her uniqueness. He states that everything I know is that I know absolutely nothing. Indeed, in Socratic fashion, the idea that all assumptions ought to be questioned by stating one's own ignorance is in contrast with most people's smug self-confidence, perhaps a great leap into Frank's step into the expressive gender role versus the instrumental. It is about this point in the movie that Rita becomes stronger and begins to move from the expressive gender role to the instrumental, as we will see in this scene.
Want pity. Was it rubbish?
No, it wasn't rubbish. It was a totally honest, passionate account of your reaction to a play.
Sentimental, you mean?
No, it was too honest for that. It was almost moving. But in terms of what you're asking me to teach you, in terms of passing examinations, oh, God, you see,
Say it. Go on. Say it.
in those terms, it's worthless. It shouldn't be, but it is. But in its own terms, it's wonderful.
It's worthless, you said. And if it's worthless, you have got to tell me, because I want to write essays like those on there. I want to learn and pass exams like they do.
Yes, but if you're going to write that sort of stuff, you're going to have to change.
All right. But just tell me how to do it.